Hello, my name's Mark Bryson and I'm from Ecoseeds Wildflowers. Ecoseeds has been growing native wildflowers for the past 25 years and we've been engaged by the local council for this project in Forkhill to look at what different ideas for the site. This is the original council map of the area. This is what it's like at the minute with there's a path that goes around the total area here. That's the one entrance here, and there's one entrance here and another entrance up at the school. So this is the first layer, as we call it. This is the input we've had from the local community as to what ideas they would like to see take place on the area, and we've had an initial meeting. So these would be the sort of the main things that were looked at, and then there's a second map which would be a sort of wish list. But the first thing that was looked at was this corner up here, which connects the GAA pitch with the site. At the minute, this is what it looks like. So the idea would be to open it up because it's quite dark in this summer, and connect another path, which would give a sort of another dimension to it. As I say, the idea would be to put a light on it. So with these trees, it's quite dark, so that it could be seen in the winter time, and also a pram gate that would be pram friendly, similar to the gate that's down at this entrance here, made out of wood. The second area we looked at is potentially, it was suggested for it to be a recreational area where people could play football, etc. And so it would be a large open area where people could play football, they could do yoga or whatever. It's an area of around 60 by 40 square meters. This is the area here, a potential area here on the map. One of the things about this, the total area, is that it's beginning to scrub up with a lot of wing bushes. So the idea would be that this would all be cleared, because part of our brief was to try and enhance it for pollinators, bees and butterflies, but also to keep the management as simple as possible. So we thought this large open area, if it's planted out with some low-growing wildflowers, it'll help insects and butterflies as well, but also, as I say, it can be used for recreation. There may be future plans as well to create an all-weather pitch, if the community were to go for that, and it would be a simpler process to just expand this and put and develop a pitch there if so desired. So the third area we looked at was to put paths in. These paths were sort of, you can see where they've been the rough paths that people would use, to get from one side to the other. These paths, you can see them. That's the one in the picture here, and then there's this one that would connect near the entrance here. This would just open the site out, give it another dimension where people can see with the features that are added, if there's more birds and insects, rather than just going around the outside, it would take you through the area, so you can see more of nature through the seasons, by opening it up. Now, there were some suggestions from the community about whether the paths are going to be concrete, or whether they would just be made from wood, from chip, and then that way they would sort of blend in more naturally, or whether there would be a tarmac path. Now that really would depend on the the resources available and the the level of interest with that. So the next thing we looked at was looking at distance posts around the areas, because the school would do walking around the area, but would also the community would do jogging, etc., and 4K runs. So if there was posts in for distances around the area, it could be measured how far it is round the track, etc. Also, we talked about picnic tables for walkers that would have a good viewpoint. So they would be on the site as well, and biodiversity signage. Now, we also talked about there's very large areas of concrete that are there. You can see this area here, and again, these wind bushes are scrubbing up fairly quickly, and if left, they will potentially be a fire hazard. But also, what we thought with concrete habitats, we could put a species mix in that would look fairly colourful, but also provide habitat for this particular butterfly here, which is the common blue butterfly. It's already on the site. It was found by the biodiversity officer, and it's called a common blue butterfly, but it's no longer very common. It's become quite rare. So by planting this habitat on these concrete areas, it would create habitat for this, but also for bees. A lot of the wild bees are on decline, so this would be a good nectar source for the bees. So the idea would be this would be down in this area here. So if you like, this is layer 2, and so this is a wish list, if you like. This would be talking to the community and the local schools. These are things people were thinking potentially they could do, rather than the first, which would be the main things people wanted in layer 1 map. So also at the beginning, the entranceway to the site, there's this bank at the lower area here, which looks slightly unkempt at the minute, but we were thinking, this could be sown out by scraping off the what's here and planting a seed mix, which would be high colour, and then maybe some kind of signage. This is a sign from what are called the natural parks in the Netherlands. So the idea would be that this would be the first thing people would see on entrance to the site. So it would be quite showy, would have quite colour. So it would be the first impression of the site. This would be at this area here. So the path comes in here. This would just be in this grass. It's currently just a grassy bank here, but it would be planted out with wildflowers and try to help this help the site for pollinators. Now this was an idea we talked about with the local school. They are interested in the pollinators, so this is the idea of this would be it's a sort of a bit of an unusual one, but would be to plant nettles. Now nettles in one of these planters. Now whether we go for wood or whether we go for the recycled material, but the idea would be it would be fairly low maintenance because you'd only have to plant them once. But these are this is the habitat that the insects, these are the more colourful butterfly species, and they lay all their eggs on the nettles. So this nettle patch would be down here near the concrete area, but the nettle patch would be it would just be sown out with nettles, and then the school could come down and look and see what caterpillars on it, and again make that connection between the butterflies and see them changing into the butterflies over time. It would be low maintenance in that you would plant it once, and then that would be it really. But and if in future it was decided to grow something else in than vegetables or another type of plant, then it would be very simple. It would be a very simple task to change the management of it. But again, good for environmental education. Okay, so this next area, the idea, it's a large flat area. So rather than trying to get rid of all this concrete, one of the ideas was to utilize it and make a sundial with it. So the school would learn in geography. It would tie in with that, but also the maths of how the sun works, trying to work out the distance between these lines for the time, and then have some kind of feature which the shadow works to show the different times of the day, and the same for the evening time. The idea would be you would have something that would show the sky at night. So it would encourage people to look at the site at night time, so this would be more in the winter time when you're getting some clear skies. So it could be incorporated into an evening of looking at star constellations. This was an example in Galway, in Bridget's Garden, Galway, where they've put a map of the stars. It's not quite clear here. But the idea would be the schools could draw this using and then paint it on with the different constellations, so they could look up at the sky. But we were also thinking they could put in certain plants. This would be this concrete area here, so that they could plant what's called night scented plants. And the idea would be those plants would bring in moths to the area. And over the summer they could put a moth trap in, and then the idea would be, or during school time ideally, they would put a moth trap in, and it just basically catches moths. It's a light, there's a little light on it. The moths come in at night, and then that would then be brought to the school, and they could look and see what moths are there the next day, and then they're just let go. But it adds a new dimension to it. Also makes a connection between bats and their importance for biodiversity. So the next idea was there would be a mound, because there's a lot of debris in the site. We thought we could make a mound, and on the south side of it you can put wood, and that would provide habitat for solitary bees. A lot of these would be on the endangered species list, and by providing habitat, that south-facing slope, you would provide homes for a lot of these bees. The school already has an insect hotel, so maybe it would tie in with that, and tie in with the citizen science, where the school would count the bees, and they could look at how this bee mound is changing numbers, and say it would be located here, and the south side of it would be planted, and the school could record the numbers and how they change, and send that into the All Ireland Pollinator Plan, and it would be good citizen science for the school, but also for the All Ireland Pollinator Plan. We also thought, similar to the idea of the nettles patch, we were thinking of using the flax plant, which this is a blue flower this is the school emblem here. So the idea would be that it could connect the school with a lot of local history, because there was flax in the part of the main street. There was a flax dam, so near the main street. So flax has a history in the local area. The school's also been involved in saving their own seeds of sunflowers, so they could extend that by saving the sunflower seeds. And this would go in this area. The idea would be this would go in this area here, which is near the existing path. So on the way to school, and they could look at it and see how the flax is going. And again, that connects the school with the area at Forkhill, because these are going to be the future children who are going to be walking in, and etc. So it has that connection with it. Now this area here we're suggesting could possibly be a wetland. So this would be below where the recreational area is. It's naturally it would sit a bit wet, and we wouldn't be talking about changing the drainage or anything like that, or having open water. It would just be an area that would sit wet and have wetland plants in it, which would be, for example, the likes of purple loosestrife, which is the plant that this dragonfly would lay its eggs on. It would have species like that, so ideally it would attract damselflies and dragonflies, and maybe newts, frogs, and tadpoles. This would be down here, so the football pitch recreational area would be here, and this area would be just below it. But again, the idea would be that it would provide another source of another different habitat. So you'd have a wetland. You would have this dry concrete area here, so that's another habitat. You would have up here is going to be more shaded, so you'd have a woodland edge habitat here, and then the bee mound. Again, your nettles and all these features, and your night flowering plants would all attract more wildlife. So the area would be enhanced or help for biodiversity. We would also have these additional ideas. These were some that were muted. The school was saying they do some work with bird migration, so the idea would be, possibly a swift tower. Now, a lot of schools are taking more of an interest in birds and doing the RSPB bird counts, which was recently there, and they're finding a lot of species are declining. So by providing habitat for them, such as the swift, which migrate to Africa, they could have a map in the school where they could see the birds coming back and trace the migration over time. The same with the bird boxes, which would be located sort of at the back of the site. They would provide habitat for local birds. So a class could take an interest in them, for example, and see what birds are nesting in them. So as they're walking past, especially during the nesting season, they can be looking out to see if there are any birds nesting in them. Another idea was a wishing tree where people could put their wishes. This would be down here near the playground. There's an existing tree here where people could put their wishes on it, and it would just be, again, it was something that was done in the past, so that would just be another idea. As I say, there's possible locations for the bird boxes, and then a swift tower here, swift-like open areas. That may be an option for that area there. So these are the main features. As I say, you have the layer 1 map, which was the features the community group would ideally like to have, and then you have area 2, which was the ones which are additional to that. So again, all or some of these ideas could be taken depending on people's interest. But I think a lot of the features, certainly the different habitats in the area would help the wild populations. I think certainly there's a lot of stories with climate change about the environment and a lot of species on decline. So this way, by doing this on such a large area, it would actually have an effect on helping the the insects and birds and mammals, and it would be a way that the children directly could be contributing to that by putting up all these features and actually being involved in the park, so they can, as they walk through it, they can see the changes directly and be doing something positive for the environment and hopefully positive for future generations. So these are the general outlines, and as I say, the idea is that for people to contact the local council to see if they would like to do these features, or if there's anything else that they could see, that they would like to see take place in this site, if they could contact the local council with the ideas. So I'd just like to say thank you, and I hope that was of use. Okay, thank you. Bye.